Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Easter week to you, or Thanksgiving week. Jeez, I wish it were Easter. Thanksgiving week to you. Well, the year's gone fast, that's for sure. Obviously excited about our win on Saturday. The guys played their tails off. It wasn't perfect by any means, but just how hard they played. They were able to make some plays in critical situations that enabled us to always keep the lead. And I think as a coaching staff, we talked about that of keeping that lead. Even though you started at 2 score, then down to 1 score, we were able to keep that lead was significant, I think, from a confidence standpoint with the guys. And then we were able to finish the game. That was probably the thing that I was excited about for our offense is with whatever 4+ minutes left to be able to grind that clock out and not give the ball back to a really high-powered offense was really good. So obviously excited about that and coming back here. No school this week. With the holiday, and so the guys are able to take care of their bodies probably a little bit better. They're not in and out of classes. They've still got some classwork I'm sure they have to catch up on, but they're able to get a few more treatments and cold tubs and warm tubs and those things to try to get their body back for Saturday for senior day, because we're really excited. We're going to honor 27 great seniors that have had a huge impact on Kansas State football, a huge impact on my life and our coaches as far as allowing us into their lives for this last year. And that's never easy for a senior to have a coaching change. And these guys have embraced us, and so excited for those guys to have a special week. So with that, we'll open it up.
I could be wrong in the numbers, but Lance Robinson, I think, had played 24 snaps on defense before this game, then played 75 against Tech. Just curious about how he handled that workload and your thoughts on his impact in the game.
I thought he played exceptionally well, and Lance has been a very good special teams player for us and was behind A.J. and Walt on the depth chart and even Keevy a little bit, so he was right around our fourth corner. And then when we lost A.J., we put a little bit more pressure on Lance to perform better at practice, to have an opportunity to get on the field. And we were going to play him a significant amount of snaps regardless of what happened in the game on Saturday. And sure enough, we lose Walt early on in the game, and so Lance has got to play every snap basically. But he was in really good shape. He hadn't missed any practices, hadn't been dinged up, probably fresher than most guys are. And so I thought he had an exceptionally good game and great for him from a confidence boost because he's just a redshirt freshman. And so for us moving forward helps us to know that there's another guy we can count on for the future.
Coach, you kind of touched on this in your opening comments, but after you keep saying you see the progress, and after 2 weeks of it not translating to a victory, how important was it for this team to get the reward to kind of get some more forward progress?
It's part of that process that you don't want to just put so much pressure on the guys to say, man, you have to win. You know, that then they're never going to play very good. I've seen that before where somebody says, you have to win this game. Typically you don't, because you're putting all that undue pressure on themselves. It's just, I think, reassuring those guys of what we're seeing as coaches and what I'm seeing overall, because I go to both ends on practice, offense and defense, that I do see really good progress, and we are getting better. That, guys, it's going to come out and show itself some Saturday. I just know it is, and it has. You guys have seen that as well as I have when we won a few of them in a row there. That to stay the course and continue to believe. And I think when you have adversity and you lose a game or two like we did in a row, I think the first thing that goes is your confidence and belief. Like, come on, can we really do this? And us as coaches continuing to harp on, yeah, guys, we're not that far away, and continue to believe. And I just really enjoyed the long weekend we had with those guys. Probably the best thing we had was a 6 o'clock game, because it allowed us more time with those guys to go through walkthrough, to go through notes and stuff at the hotel on Saturday, and get them truly believing that, hey, we were going to find a way.
I believe in the statement that your record says who you are.
Yeah.
But Iowa State at 7-4. This is a really good football team that I don't think that record fully shows how dangerous they can be.
They've lost a couple of close games that I know of. I remember I'm remember watching the Baylor game or the end of the Baylor game. They had a chance to win, and I think we got home in time one time to see the end of the Oklahoma game. So they're always in games. But it's an extremely well-coached football team. Matt Campbell does a phenomenal job with the players, and his staff does a great job. So much respect for Matt. And the players believe and buy into what they're being taught. And defensively, they're just so sound. They don't miss fits. They run to the football extremely well. They're physical. And then offensively, I'm just so impressed with Brock Purdy. I think he's a phenomenal football player that I love watching as we watch tape and stuff. I'm not going to probably like watching him live as much, but he's a fun guy to watch because he just makes plays all over the field.
I see some similarities between how Matt Campbell's teams play and what their identity is and what you want your program to be?
Yeah, Matt's just done it for a longer period at this level than what we have here. But just the fact that they're disciplined, they're really physical. The guys believe in what they're doing, all the things that we're trying to. But you could say myself, any coach. I mean, if you give a team that's really physical, really disciplined, and believes in what the coaches are preaching, you're going to have success. So it's fun because we've been on crossover tape with these guys all year. So we've seen them against everybody, and against everybody. They look like the better team. They really do. Even the Oklahoma and Texas game and stuff, and I know they beat Texas, they look like a team that belongs and should win the game. And so just tremendous amount of respect for what they've done there.
That win that you had on Saturday, you are the winningest first-year head coach in the Big 12. What level of pride do you take in that?
You said that, I didn't know it. It's pretty cool, I guess, for our staff. I once again, it's about all of us together that are doing this, and happy for the results. We talk about the process. Happy for some of those results to show out for our coaching staff. And I think it helps from a recruiting standpoint. It helps for our younger players. All those things to say, we wanted growth in this first year. If you asked, I never told you how many games we would win this first year. We wanted growth and guys believing and getting better. And that's what I have seen from week 1 through week 11 now. And so I'm excited for the future.
Looking over the body of work, I mean, there's several statistics that really jump out about this team, but one that's really good is third down defense. When you look at this group, what makes them so efficient and good at limiting the third down conversions this year?
We work at it an awful lot. We emphasize it. Every team emphasizes it, but we emphasize it against our offense a number of situations as well in practice. It's bitten us a few times too. There's some games where we haven't been as good on third down, and it's cost us. But with the style of offense we play, we have to get off the field on third down to give our offense a couple more possessions. And to be able to methodically move the ball on offense it's a direct result of what we do on third down defense, because just giving those guys an extra couple possessions. I think Coach Hayes and the defensive staff spend a lot. We watched third down this morning, spent an awful lot of time on third down to see what our kids feel comfortable and confident playing, and then also the things that we think will work against this scheme. We have a lot of third down defense, and so our ability to pick the right things and Scotty's ability to pick the right things that will be efficient on Saturdays is a big part of that.
One last go around on Saturday, how important is third down defense going to be against Purdy and the Cyclones?
Yeah, I think we watched a huge cut up today of third and short, and and it was a passing cut up, and they're completing at a high rate and having great success with some crossing routes and some under routes. And this is by far the best group of tight ends that we've seen. They have great players at tight end that block exceptionally well, that run really good routes, that catch the ball in traffic. They are really talented guys, and Purdy feels comfortable putting it in their framework and them going up and making plays. So we have to do a great job, obviously, on third down this week.
couple seniors, playing their last home games here. First off, I know he hasn't been in the program obviously for a while, but James Gilbert going to get the opportunity to play in a bowl game this year. Mm-hmm. He's obviously brought a spark to the running game. Just kind of what has he meant, and how special is it to see him get this opportunity to play for a winning program in his final year?
Yeah, James is a super kid. As you guys have gotten to know him, he's got a smile on his face all the time. He's an energetic guy, somebody that people in his life that have impacted him, I know really well, and that's how James and I got hooked up. And so I'm excited for all the people that have impacted James's life. And James has been a great addition to our team in his 1 year. I think the players, especially our seniors, have really embraced him. And so I'm excited for what he's done and for him to continue on this year.
Also wanted to ask about Jordan Mitty, just because he had that year last year where he kind of got his feet wet in the Power 5 level, and obviously you guys have kind of sang his praises a lot this year. What has he meant to the defensive line?
He's been a mainstay there. He's a phenomenal football player, a great kid to be around. Obviously, I've gotten to know his parents really well, and Jordan's just had a senior year that a kid wants to have, where he's playing a ton, playing at a high level, being really productive. The other senior defensive linemen love having him around because he's always got energy, and his motor doesn't stop. And he's made impact play after impact play in every game, and his consistent play has allowed us to be really good on defense.
Armageddon, probably the second biggest rivalry. You think the team is as pumped up as they were maybe for the KU game?
They will be. I think he's still a lead up to each of these rivalry games, and coming off of an emotional win over Texas Tech on the road and getting back late, it's going to be a gradual climb. But they know how good a football team Iowa State is, and the great matchups that in talking to the seniors that we've had with Iowa State in their time here. I'm learning about a lot of those as well as I go back and watch tape from previous games. But it's been a tremendous game between the two institutions, and I think both teams are playing well. And it's still going to come down to execution and not turning the football over and red zone success and all those things.
In the spirit of the holiday, Thanksgiving, you don't do it quite right without filling yourself with calories and carbs. What is the plan with the team eating that much 2 days before a big game?
Well, we're going to eat still. I promise you that. We'll have a Thanksgiving meal with the guys on Wednesday night, and then we'll practice earlier on Thursday, and a number of kids will have the opportunity to go home on Thursday afternoon. It's neat because we have so many Kansas kids that will take some of the out-of-staters with them. And spend some time with families, and we'll have the rest of them that can't. We'll take them as coaches, but then they'll be back here on Friday afternoon, and we'll start late Friday afternoon. Start our normal routine for a 6 o'clock game. But it's we have a ton to be thankful for, obviously, and just being around these guys, and it's cool because one of the things, and one of the things that I like to do, don't know if it's done in the past, it doesn't matter, but I have senior talks the last couple weeks of practices, and the seniors get to come up in front of the team and just give a message to their teammates, to the younger guys, and about their time here. And it's pretty impactful for me just to listen to them, because I hear some stories about what their path and journey has been here, as well as the great message they give to the freshmen about, it's never as bad as you think it is. It's pretty fortunate that you're part of Kansas State football, and embrace the time, because it does go really fast.
Cody Fletcher, for the first time this year, had the third most snaps at linebacker. Did you kind of perceive that big of a role for him Saturday, and then how did he play in your eyes?
Yeah, we knew we were going to play him an awful lot because of the tempo and the amount of plays we were going to play, and I think this is as healthy as Cody has been since before he got hurt in mid-August. And so Cody's a really good football player that I'm sad he didn't get a chance to have his full junior year. He made a number of tackles on kickoff as well on Saturday. which tells me he is healthier because he's able to run down on kickoff and make some plays and then make some plays on defense. And so it's helped us because there's no way DQ was going to be able to play that many plays in that kind of a tempo offense. And so excited for Cody and know that he just needs those snaps to get more and more confidence.
Coach, you want guys to play with emotion, but how and where do you draw the line on just saying, okay, this is too much? I'm thinking more in terms of Lance Robinson and how emotional he was than anybody.
It's just the fine line is celebrating with your teammates and not making it about yourself. And we talk about that, but let's be honest. You watch football on Sunday, and that's what the game has become at that level. And we know that kids watch that, and we know that kids are excitable, and we want the energy, we want the emotion, whether it's a player making a great sack, and Wyatt shows great emotion too, or Josh on the long kick return. We just got to do it more with the team, but absolutely, it's an emotional game, and let's let them have some fun too. We can't. There's a line in the sand that we can't pass and draw.
Brees Hall is a true freshman running back at Iowa State. He seems like he's picking up an honor just about every week from the Big 12. In-state prospect that held an offer from K-State. I know you were hired after he committed, but, man, what jumps off the screen to you in Brees Hall?
Great balance, tremendous physical toughness, running through arm tackles and stuff. Obviously wasn't playing a bunch early in the season, and all of a sudden – the more reps he's gotten, the better he has become. Really talented player, and we'll have our hands full trying to corral him, especially because of all the weapons they have throwing the football. He's been a big benefit to that, and he's made the most of it. And so we obviously have to try to control and limit some of his explosive plays. Great player.
I was hoping we could get an update quickly on Malik and Walton, those guys that have.
Yeah, there's a good chance all those guys will be able to play. Nobody practiced yesterday, but they were all out there moving around with our training staff. And so I'm confident that the two that would be Malik and Walt that came out of the game, a couple other guys got nicked up, but should be able to play as well. I'll probably know more on Wednesday. We'll limit some guys today, but I'm more encouraged by it than I was probably on Saturday evening.
It's another multi-sack performance for Wyatt. How much has he meant to this defense?
He's been tremendous. He's been a guy that has had an impact on every game. He's made great strides as the season's gone on. His technique is so good. He's so physical, and he's got a motor, that just doesn't stop. And we've made a lot of mistakes on defense, and Wyatt's a great example of our entire defense of making mistakes but playing so hard you're able to overcome them. And Wyatt was huge in critical situations in the fourth quarter, and that's still a credit to us revolving that door at the defensive line through 4 quarters so a kid like Wyatt can stay fresh enough in the fourth to make a couple big plays.
And how much has Josh meant to this special teams unit?
Josh Youngblood? He's an electric kid. He can flat fly. He's got a knack. And kickoff returns are a knack of being slow to it and then hitting it at the right time and understanding where your blocks are at. And then he's just got that second gear. And let's give Ross Elder a ton of credit because, man, did Ross do a great job of setting up the block, maintaining the block, and never giving up on the play. A lot of people made great blocks on that, but the one that sticks out to me is Ross allowing him to get in the end zone.
Coach, another thing on Youngblood. With what he's done this year with 3 more years remaining, can you say of what you can see of him accomplishing here?
Yeah, Josh needs to get bigger and stronger, and he knows it. He needs to put some weight on, and he's missing out with what a lot of the freshmen aren't, which is a year of development with Coach Dawson. And so this will be a really big off season for Josh to put on some weight, to put on some strength so that he can hold a much higher weight so that he can stay durable on things. He's not like he's not been durable, but I just think he'll be better with 10 or 15 pounds onto him. But he's learning so much from Dalton Schoen. He's learning so much from Malik and Joaquin about how to run routes and how to be precise on that. And so I'm really excited about his future. Obviously, for a true freshman to do the things that he has done is pretty cool to have, and excited for his next 3 years with us.
You've had really good tight ends in your career. When you look at Charlie Kolar, is he the prototype tight end in your philosophy and how you look at things? And what are the I guess some of the finer points, the little things that maybe Joe Sixpack doesn't see that a guy like that does every week?
Yeah, he is the prototype tight end you want in a style of offense that they run as well as that we run. As somebody that can be at the point of attack and block a defensive end, whether it's in the run game or pass game. He can flex out and be a single receiver on his side, or he can be in the slot and create matchup problems with safeties. Obviously, he does with corners on the outside, and he's got really good speed, and his catch radius is so big. And then he's in the backfield too. He's a move guy that can kick out a split zone or do a little bit of everything. And so, they use him in so many different ways that you could count him as a wide receiver, but if you do that, you're going to be short in the box. And so, and they have, they're playing three guys. They're in some 13 personnel with three tight ends and lining up in all sorts of formations. And that's something that, our defense luckily sees during fall camp and during spring ball. So we at least have an idea and a plan, because it's something we have to face ourselves.
Coach, you mentioned it in the open, but a lot of these kids came to K-State for Bill Snyder. How impressive is it for some of these guys, teenagers, to adjust to something like a coaching change? And I guess, what has that meant to you personally to know that they feel that?
It's meant everything to me, because a lot of those kids have already graduated, and you're allowed to grad transfer. And they did not grad transfer because of coach leaving or because of me coming in. I think they all stuck together for each other. And that's the thing that's the neatest thing for me, is those guys have such a special bond, and I see it every day in the locker room, out on the practice field. They weren't going to leave their brothers, and that's why I have such a special place for those guys. Yeah, it will be our first team, and they're, they were the first group that had this coaching staff. But I look at it as those guys stuck together. And whether there was difficult times, great times, it doesn't matter. Those guys said, we're going to go out together, and that's pretty cool. You don't see that in college football, as many fifth-year seniors as we have here. And that's let's credit those kids, because they're the ones that stuck together.
On the subject of tackling, there have been times where maybe somebody in your secondary or linebacker, instead of grabbing somebody or putting a helmet across the body, would lower a shoulder and try to knock him over.
Yep.
Do you consider that a type of form tackle, or is that more of a bad habit?
That's an awful habit that we're trying to break on a daily basis. And we've gotten tons better at it, tons better from early in the year. And it's something that we're working on, but you also got to understand the NCAA rules. How much can we really tackle in practice? Like today, you can't go out and tackle those kids. They're still beat up. And you really have that about the last 5 or 6 weeks, especially since we've been on this run for 7 weeks. It's something that we've put in the back of our mind that we're going to adapt and adjust to this winter and this spring to reteach it, because some of it is a habit. Maybe they've done it since high school, or maybe they did it last year. I don't know. But it's something that we have to move forward and get away from, because the players are too good in this league. They're going to bounce off people, and it's something that we will spend a bunch of time on making sure we get it corrected.
One of the things Wyatt Huber said before the season back this summer was that he wanted to be considered one of the best defensive ends in the Big 12. He's second in the Big 12 now in sacks. Where you sit here today, would you consider him to be a first-team All-Big 12 choice?
I don't have those the crystal ball in front of me to say I get to select it and stuff, but no, I think he's an all-conference type player without question. We'll find that out here in the next couple weeks, but he's a tremendous football player that's really productive, and there's a lot of really good football players that for whatever reason don't have the production. It seems like every week he has great production, and when I flip the film on, I look at certain guys in the league and say, how are we going to block that guy? Whether it's in the run game or in the pass game, how in the heck are we going to handle it? I'll go to Mess and say, or Connor, and I say, how are we going to handle that kid? Because we just can't go one-on-one against this kid all day. I see that in Wyatt, without question, that, okay, how are they going to handle Wyatt? And if they don't chip him and do those other things or don't put a tight end to his side, he'll make some plays.